And our last question at Pie Lover 1325. Who doesn't love pie? Ever plan on having quests on the podcast? Should we have some quests? The quest for Pat's missing Mr. Gimmick card at this point. That's driving me nuts.
The quest for sobriety.
The quest for sobriety. The quest for ending this before 10:30, which we're going to do this podcast.
I think that was probably meant to be guests.
Oh. That makes it... I think
thought you kind of assumed that. I do too. I don't... At this point right now... Quest. We've answered this question in brief before, and I'll say the same thing. I don't want to have guests right now. I like that it's as simple as it is with us two. I think we play off each other well enough. I get to get out of work, come have a beer, and we're done. I think guests would be fun, but it's not something I'd want to do regularly.
No,
and it's going to make it a bigger hassle.
Yes, because we are on the West Coast, and we start late. Because Ian, you work. And so if we have someone on the East Coast, it's midnight for them when we start. Right. And then there's a setup. You got to get them hooked in on Skype. That's the only way to do it. I've actually thought about having people calling in via Skype and setting up an account, but we don't have anyone to screen them. So we can have a joker come on and do whatever. So it's a little complicated having more, unless you have a producer help you. A lot of the big podcasts, like Steve Austin's podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience, the huge ones, they have guys behind the scene. They have at least one or two people helping out, produce the show.
Yeah.
It's me producing this on the fly. You know, that's why people say, why are you always on the computer? I'm monitoring the chat. I'm monitoring, make sure we're streaming. I'm monitoring you stream. I'm monitoring the topic. So, like, to have someone else helping out would be great.
I should rephrase. I'm not anti-guest, but we would definitely need help for it to work out, and I would only want to do it at most, like, once every few podcasts.
Unless we did a special time when it wasn't on the regular podcast, and we sort of spliced it in and showed people doing, you know what I mean? Like, something like that where it was like a one-off. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll get there. It's just right now, I like where we're at. And people, I mean, I appreciate that people enjoy the podcast, but we're still pretty young for a podcast.